All right, Spencer Coffman joins us now via the Midday news line. He is the founder for the Minnesota-based organization called Social Media Ministries, expressing concerns about a gender identity law impacting hiring practices. Spencer, thanks so much for joining us via the news line. Nice to have you with us today.
Yeah, great to be here.
So tell us about how your organization is being impacted by this law recently passed in Minnesota having to do with gender identity and hiring practices. What are your concerns here with this?
Sure. So the main concern is that this law was passed, and historically, anytime some type of law has been passed for reestablishing a definition of some type of identity or specifically pertaining to discrimination laws, there's usually an exemption added about that excludes religious organizations from that, because a lot of times religious organizations have certain beliefs, which are according to whatever religion or beliefs they have. Now, we are a Christian organization, but you could apply this to any type of religious organization out there, where if the government says, hey, you have to hire a certain percentage of males or females or Native American or Caucasian or white, black, etc., they make those rules, and religious organizations, depending on their beliefs, could be exempt from them. Now, this is the first time that it's not. That exemption was thought to have been left out or mistakenly forgotten, but later they admitted that, no, this wasn't an oversight. We specifically excluded that because we want everyone to be hiring. This particular bill is for, like you said, gender identity, which means that religious organizations, no matter what they believe, will not be exempt. They will be, I suppose you could use the word, forced to hire or not discriminate against anyone who may be of a different gender identity, whether it's transgender or transitioning from male or female or whatever type they choose to identify as. Now, the reason this is a concern, number one, is because it violates the First Amendment of religious freedom. Number two is that people can believe whatever they want to say they are. There's a big movement among the teenagers in northern Minnesota called the furries, and it's been spreading all over, where these kids walking around high school hallways have litter boxes, and they believe that they are an animal. And so if the gender identity in history continues, this is like the first step, and pretty soon it can expand to who knows what. Now, obviously right now, I'm not like conspiracy doomsday or saying it's going to be worse, but historically that's how things happen. They start slow and then they build.
Okay, so this law, as you describe it then, requires an organization like yours not to exercise any type of discrimination or selectivity, I guess, when it comes to hiring practices. So if someone
Correct.
applied to your organization where you have a certain position open and they are a member of the transgender community, presuming they meet all the requirements, that the law essentially would require you to make that hire. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so you say now more recently, too, there's another amendment that you and some others have been promoting, wanting the legislature to adopt this amendment, which would provide religious exemption for you, but you and those aligned with you assert that the DFL continues to prevent a vote on this amendment from taking place. Is that right?
That is correct, yeah. So Representative Harry Niska worked with a lot of religious leaders. Now, we're not talking specifically Christian leaders. We're talking religion as a whole. No matter what they believe, it's universal across the board. That he's worked with a lot of them to try to get this exemption added. And like you said, they voted it down instantly. And this was earlier this week. So this was the third time that Democrats have blocked that attempt at restoring religious freedom to this human rights bill that they recently passed.
Okay, so your position is that the law as it currently stands is unconstitutional in terms of the restrictions, limitations that it places on you and other faith-based organizations. So with that amendment not being voted on, where do things go from here? Do you anticipate taking some type of legal action or hiring legal representation? What is your next step?
Sure. Well, our next step is really just raising awareness. We we believe that the bill will go back to the floor, the amendment bill. It's HF 3926 that NISCA has been trying to push, and there is some growing support for it. A lot of faith-based community is with it. Other senators and representatives have shown some support for the bill. So really, realistically, the Democrats can't table it forever. Eventually, there's going to have to be a vote, and the vote is going to come down to, do we honor the Constitution or do we not? And if they choose to not honor the Constitution, then I don't know where it goes from there. I suppose they'll have to start rewriting the Constitution, which sounds crazy, but if that's what they want to do, then my guess would be the faith-based community will start to become a lot more vocal in politics.
Have you had anyone who identifies as transgender apply for an open position within your organization?
No, we haven't.
Okay. And let's say someone does today or tomorrow or sometime next week, what will be your response?
Well, I suppose, I'm not going to exclude any of them from what we want to do. We get a lot of volunteers. Now, we don't ask the question of what gender they are or how they identify. So it is possible. Over the last few years, we've had over 300 different volunteers that have helped us with different projects. And it is possible that some of them may have had that identity and we didn't know. Now, our goal as a Christian organization is to reach what we call the lost, which are the people that don't believe what we believe. And the transgender community would be part of that group. And so if they want to come and work with us or for us, we wouldn't exclude them, but we wouldn't promote what they believe. So we would welcome them and then try to understand more about why they feel what they feel, and then try to show them our side of things and hope that they would see that and change.
Being a founder of an organization that is now in the position that you are in, as a taxpayer, as an American citizen, as a constituent, and as a person, a member of a faith-based community, in your case, it's a Christian organization, how does all this make you feel?
It's concerning. In Bible times, the book of Daniel specifically, there were times when the king would make a law or would be tricked into making a law, and the Christians wouldn't be allowed to pray, for example. And so then, that's a big concern. There were other times, in the times of Esther, when the Jews, which is another religion, Abrahamic faith, so similar, the king there was tricked into a law to exterminate all the Jews, and they were all going to be killed. So that was a little bit more serious than what we face now. But the point is it's not quite a persecution, but it's a restriction on religious beliefs. And the scary part about this one is that this blankets all faiths. It's not specifically targeted toward, like in the past, Jews or Christians. This is targeting all faiths, no matter what you believe, whether it's Christian, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jewish, even atheists could be penalized for not including people that don't align with their beliefs, specifically on gender identity with this bill.
Well, we thank you for the input, the conversation today. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Again, we've been speaking with Spencer Coffman, the founder of the Minnesota-based group called Social Media Ministries, expressing concerns about a hiring law in the state of Minnesota pertaining to gender identity. Keep us posted, and we'll look forward to touching base with you in the future, Spencer. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
My pleasure. Time now is at 12:47. By the way, we always welcome opposing or differing viewpoints on this topic and any other. So if anyone is listening and would like to weigh in with a viewpoint from another side, we certainly do welcome that and welcome you to give us a call or contact us, and we'll provide an opportunity for you to do that.